All right, welcome to this episode of Delayed Offside. I'm your host, Baron.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Ryan.
And as always, Sanjay isn't here. But knowing that it's NFL
Oh, we have
Monday,
a guest. Who's the guest,
games,
Adam?
This is, come on in.
Sanjay Part 2.
This is my son.
That's Sanjay's replacement.
Yeah. Replacement Sanjay. No, Sanjay's probably got a bit of the NFL-itis, is my guess, or who knows. So he's not here this week, but I mean, that's par for the course, I think. I'm more surprised he was here last week. That was actually more.
It was it's just a treat now when he pops by.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
It just brightens your day a little bit. And so sometimes it's one of those, you miss them when they're gone. And that's what he brings to this team now.
Yeah, he's like the French fry in the bottom of the bag, the freezy at the
curly
bottom
fry
of the freezer. Yeah, exactly. That's
and really,
Sanjay.
When it boils down to is he's just really upset that Djokovic got, kicked out of Australia.
Yeah, huge Djokovic fan. Like, that's obvious. He loves Djokovic. Agrees with a lot of his politics too, I think, is that part of the problem. But
absolutely. And just overall loves the sport of pickleball.
Yeah, huge fan. So what's going on in the NHL these days, or nothing, depending on how you look at it, depending which part of the world you're in. The American side seems to be getting a little bit more games in than the Canadian side, although that is starting to slowly change as Canadian teams emerge from their COVID hybrid and seats are allowed to open up for certain teams. So we're starting to see a little more movement there. To give an example, I think the Oilers have played 2 games in the last 4 weeks. Like, it's been a while here. So we're going to see some interesting things pop up here as the schedule starts to condense again and those makeup games come into existence. What are your thoughts? Do you think that having to make up all these games, do you think this is going to be a detriment to the Canadian teams in this year, in this current format?
Well, I think it's going to play them out. To be honest, all those games, it's going to be every second day they're going to be playing and it's going to be pushing. You're going to have some well-rested American teams ready for the Stanley Cup playoffs, and Canadian teams probably injury riddled before we get there, ready to kind of battle it out or do as much as they can with the team that they've allotted through injuries.
Can't really add much to that. He touched on every single point I was going to say, so well done, Adam.
Man, Ryan, what's the point of you in being here?
I know. Just fire me now.
But it is one of those interesting things, because I do think that's, last year what the side effect is that all the Canadian teams were together. Now that still forced some teams to play heavily against each other. Vancouver kind of suffered for it last year, but at the end of the day, I don't think they were the ones. They were already in a bad spot by the time that started. It just made their bad spot worse. It still allowed Canadian teams to get in there. This current structure really affects, I think, Canadian teams in the fact that it doesn't impact the U.S. teams nearly to the same amount. As long as they didn't get COVID, they can keep going. Or if they got COVID, they're able to play games. They're still not put in that tight stretch. But the Canadian teams are starting to play a serious less amount of games. I think the Ottawa Senators had the least amount of games played. I can't remember for sure. But I mean, that's going to force a tight schedule. More than just a week can make up when you have all these games to do. So I am kind of curious as to see what happens here at the end of this. It could become one of those things that at the end of the season, you look and you say, hey, this was a turning point. Last year, most teams got hit with COVID. It wasn't good for them. They didn't really do well afterwards.
Yeah, you were partially right. It's them. They have the second least amount of games played. First place in that area is the Islanders, 30 games played. Whereas
right, and the Islanders were hit bad with COVID too.
Yeah, whereas Ottawa is 31 games played so far.
I think they would have been tied at home for a while as well in the beginning of the season, right?
The Islanders had the longest road start because they had the new arena being built.
That's right. I know I can't remember who it was, but there was a player suggesting maybe extending the regular season a bit and pushing back the playoffs. I wonder if, dependent on, how many more postponed games have to occur, if maybe that's something Bettman decides to do.
There's another conversation here, which is if you hit a point of everyone having COVID in the NHL, or a high portion of the players having COVID, then you probably don't have to shut down ever again, at least not for 3 months, because their testing schedule allows that you don't have to test again for 3 months after. So if a team gets wiped out now, essentially, like Calgary did, like Edmonton did, then they don't have to rush through the protocol again. And essentially they're just going to go 3 months without being tested, which will lead into playoffs.
Right.
And that could be a potential advantage. But I think the lost games, the makeup games, I think that's way more of a disadvantage in the long run on this thing.
Oh yeah, you'll have some tired teams for sure heading into the playoffs.
Now, despite these games being locked down and closed down, one of the other issues that's popped up here is that the All-Star game appears to still be an important thing. There's lots of debate about why, but I think the biggest reason is people have paid for it, right? The ESPN has the contract for it this year. They want to showcase it. So they want to have that event, that feature event, just like cities want to host it to kind of showcase things. Now, let's talk about this at all. Do you think, one, that the All-Star game should be played this year, and two, that there's a point of an All-Star game anymore, specifically in the NHL?
I would say no. I would instead prefer you take that opportunity to play out some of those postponed games rather than have this meaningless all-star game. I get it in terms of the networks wanting it, and you have that agreement in place and the contracts and money talks. And I know it's a big money grab for the community that it's played in. I get all of that. But at the same time, like we were just talking about, you have all these games that you're having to play out that were postponed, that you have to fit into the schedule now. Why not take that time where you had a break and start slotting in some more games, and that would help ease some of that congestion?
Yeah, you raise a really good point. That's a week off that could be utilized for makeup games. I really like that. Do I think they should have it though? Part of me says, no, because that's how, COVID will spread to other teams. It's going to be like a mega spread event. You get everyone, one player or a couple players from each team coming in, and then say someone's got it. It's going to wipe out a bunch of other teams. On the other hand, it's something that younger generations really like, and they get excited to see these players, these marquee players playing together that would never normally play together. So in that regard, yeah, I get it. But I think it's a responsible thing to do right now? No, not at all.
Yeah, but like at the same time, right? Like, so this whole COVID thing, they're still getting tested regularly, Adam, at the same time. It's like guys are just going to go there and do that. Plus, a bunch of these guys have already had COVID, so they're not even actually going to get it again at this event. And you're in the US where you could go to a football game with 60,000 people. So why would a 30,000 NHL rink be more dangerous at that stage? You know what I mean? Like, it's so open there. It's just hard to say that's like I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just can't see that being a justification at any point.
And another thing that kind of baffles my mind is like, they don't know when it's really contagious. And when you're testing, you could be negative and contagious. Am I not wrong?
Yep.
Or am I not right?
Yeah, well, it depends if you're home testing, I think, versus PCR.
Right. Yeah. So,
right. But I get what Adam's saying in terms of, when these outbreaks occur, it's usually when one team plays another team, and then you'll have two teams that get it. And I mean, you see how it spread through. Was it Calgary that kind of started, right? And then it spread through Edmonton and Toronto, and all these teams ended up playing. Toronto. Yeah, that ended up playing Calgary.
Did Toronto go through a big break with it? I thought Toronto's issue was more that the health advisory kicked in and stopped them from having
Edmonton.
home games.
Toronto played Edmonton, and after that Edmonton game, that's when some of their players started getting COVID.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's when it happened. The issue now is, at least when that's happening, it's not every single team that's being exposed, but now you're going to have at least one player from every single team being on the ice. So if there's even just one guy with COVID and he can spread it to every single player on that ice, they're all taking it back to their locker rooms.
Right, but he can't, because McDavid can't catch it again. He just had it. Draisaitl could, because he hasn't had it.
Right.
But McDavid hasn't.
And I'm sure they're going to be very strict on testing and everything, but I mean, it's still a risk. It's always going to be a risk.
Well, and they haven't implemented a new policy, so they are testing more actively than they were prior, and masks on again, and et cetera, et cetera. But I do think the thing becomes is that a bunch of the All-Stars have had it already, so they're not going to carry it back. It's the ones that haven't had it that you have to be worried about.
But you can get it a second time, right?
But not within the 3 month period. They're not going to test you. So how are you going to get positive test if you're asymptomatic?
I don't care about testing it. I just care about if you have it or not.
But you don't have it if you don't know you have it, right? Like no one's going to stop you from playing because you feel sick. Guys play with the flu all the time. That's what they've said. So if McDavid's got 3 months here where he's not getting tested, that includes the All-Star game. So if he gets it a second time, which is unlikely because he's just had it, so you shouldn't get it.
You should have the immunity,
like that.
right? Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Which is why it's the 3-month
time.
thing.
Yeah.
And this is, but this is also different. It's like a long-term thing. He got his in the start.
Yeah.
So you're looking at this. So he can't, if he has the sniffles one day, he's probably going to play. They're probably not going to say shit to him. Like, let's be honest. So I don't know. I just I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just think some of these guys got it already. And I doubt.
Yeah. You would just hope that the immunity is enough that they don't get it right away again.
Correct.
But I haven't actually looked into this. Has anyone ever got it back to back quickly before? I'm assuming someone has.
The people I know that have had it have been told that they had 3 months that they were okay.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah.
So I assume that's.
But I mean, I've caught a cold like back to back.
But have you caught the same cold back to back and the same?
No, but it would have still been a cold.
Right. But this isn't.
So I mean, couldn't they catch Omicron once and then Delta another time?
I'm
just throwing this out there. I honestly, I have not looked into any of this. So
potentially, but I don't think that's how it works. Not for this one, anyways.
No idea.
I don't think it's like an influenza or a cold where it's so vastly different each time. You know, like these are all based off the same thing, but we're just getting different versions of it. Anyways, that's what I understand. Whether I'm right or wrong, like I don't know.
You're the teacher, so I'll lean towards.
Yeah, I'm a teacher. I'm not a scientist. Like,
it's still a step up for me. So
these are the conversations I've had with my wife. These are like things that I've read. It doesn't make them true. And what's true today is not true tomorrow. So, you know, it is what it is. But I don't think that's going to be the big issue. I think it could affect somebody for sure. I just don't know how it's going to happen.
Could you imagine if it did though? Like it somehow spread to every team after this, and then just the entire NHL is shut down for a bit.
Well, then you'd be like stupid NHL making stupid decisions, which is par for the course, isn't it?
It's true.
Yeah.
Like who feels that this organization does a great job of anything? Exactly.
Anyone putting their hands up?
Exactly. We're all in the same boat on this one. So it's just kind of nuts. Was there any surprises to you in the All-Star team and any surprises for people who were left off of it? Now, if you're like me, you really don't pay any attention to this. So I couldn't even tell you who's all on it. But if you do know someone, feel free to shout them out. I know
I'm totally like you,
left
Bear.
off
I could care less. I could care less about the All-Star game. It's such a meaningless game. The be named an all-star is meaningless because every team gets to have one player in. So you have all these like great superstars having fantastic seasons who aren't on the team, and you have guys like Nick Suzuki, who's now an all-star. I mean, the whole thing, should I say it?
He's having a
joke.
terrible season, right? Like a terrible, or sorry, not terrible season. Nick Suzuki is. Yeah, Nick Suzuki's having a terrible season, and it's like he's an all-star.
Yeah.
Huzzah.
But the whole thing's meaningless. Like it's a fun, shinny game that they have that's fun for fans, and I get it. It's pointless. So like I've never really gotten into it. And it's not like the NBA All-Star game where there's a really like the skills competition is can't miss television. None of it is really that enticing to me.
So Merrick versus Wyshynski used to do this all the time, which is how would you make it more exciting? And so the NHL tried. The 3-on-3 tournament was good for a while. I don't know if it's still good anymore, but that was something that they pushed, and that was an attention grabber the John Scott year. Like there's lots of other little things they try, but thinking of all the games they do, like the trick shot, the so forth, what is something that would give them that thing? Like the MLB's got the home run derby, the dunk competition in the NBA. What does the NFL have, or what could the NFL have? Or sorry, the NHL have?
I think the hard thing is those sports, you can pull off some fantastic feats without the competition there. Like, doing a single thing, like just by yourself. Whereas I find the best highlights in an NHL game are when the pressure's on and you're having to beat 5 guys, or deke out 2 defenders or whatever, and a goalie. It's the speed of the game that makes it the most fun game in the world. And when you're doing those skills competitions, it kind of takes that out of the equation. Like I kind of like that mini net passing drill they did.
I didn't mind that one either, but is it exciting television?
No, like it was cool to watch once. What I want to like sit there and watch it for in a half hour or 15 minutes or however long it goes for? Not really. I did read someone's idea that instead of doing the skills comp live, you tape it all, pre-tape it all, and you put it together in like a little video package of some sort to get rid of the downtime and all that type of stuff. And then you integrate some like backstories and interviews and stuff like that to kind of make it a little more entertaining. I don't mind that idea.
Yeah, that's fair. What about you, Adam? What do you think they could do to kind of increase things for the game or make them more entertaining, stand out, different, better?
I think, you bring in a King of the Ring and you have a fighting competition at center ice, or like a Royal Rumble style where, you get the toughest guys from each team and they have to go in like the big circle at mid ice. And they have to, push each other out, throw each other out. Just a thought. They each have their own intro music. It's not pro wrestling. Yeah,
you could have like a tough guy competition of some sort,
like a strength show of strength or something like that. Yeah, like at first I thought you meant they were going to fight each other, but yeah, like push each other out of the circle. That makes it kind of fun.
But yeah, like trying to
like a battle.
Yeah, some sort of battle.
Like a sumo wrestling match, almost, that type of thing.
Yeah, on skates.
No, right? I know. Like not actually sumo wrestling, but the premise of it, you're pushing them out of the circle.
Exactly. Or, I also like the idea that Jeff Merrick always brings up. And he's like bringing up a legend that had bringing out like an NHL legend that had like an expertise in the area that they're doing. Like Hardest Slap Shot, bringing in like Al McInnes, Nick Lidstrom. I don't know. That's the only guy I could think of right off the top of my head. Or
L.I. Afraidy.
Yeah. Or someone like, for passing, Pavel Datsuk, bring him in. Or, a puck handling competition, bring in Pavel Datsuk, or something of that nature, bringing in kind of an all-star.
Isn't being in the NHL being an all-star, though?
Nope.
Means you're really good, though.
Like, I think you got a good point, but like, no, not the same. Because even in the NHL, the best guys are way better than the bottom guys.
Yeah.
The bottom guys are just better than everyone else we know.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
By a lot.
Guys are damn
amazing
players. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, one of my favorite stories was like they had a guy come in, like a ringer essentially, for a men's hockey game during the lockout, and the guy was just lighting it up, and they're like, who the hell is that guy? And it was Darcy Hordichuk, and he stepped on the ice with guys who'd played like, I think, WHL, CIS, and he was just heads and tails above all of them.
Right.
And at that point, he was near the end of his career. I think he played like 1 or 2 more seasons, right? And like, that's the difference. That's the thing. So I think it's kind of crazy that way. I always like the idea when EA Sports had the money puck feature, where it was like you got the puck, but it was like whether you tried to score, but it would be like worth negative amounts or positive amounts, or your goal was worth 3 goals. And I thought that was kind of fun because if you could spin the wheel and be like, boom, this is your puck right now, or boom, there's 2 pucks, or you know what I mean? Like there's just different things you could do to make it stupid but fun. I do think the best thing they have is either the hardest shot or the shootout. But I think the problem with the shootout is everyone tries to make it like an overly fancy thing, like the dunk competition. Like, I'm going to jump over this car. It doesn't have to be. It should be, you have to leave at this point. You have to take it like you do and try to score the best goal. And whether it's super fancy or not, whatever.
The other thing with
have fun.
The penalty shot is the goalie. Like, you might have this like amazing sick move, but then the goalie saves it and just kills it, right? Whereas the dunk comp, there's nothing there. So as long as you dunk it, you're good. That's the issue too.
That's part of it. But I mean, too, like they try to introduce a trick, and a trick works really well for an unguarded net. The trick doesn't work as well for a guarded net. I just don't think it does.
No,
like,
it doesn't. It can really kill the momentum when the goalie makes every single save. It really kills it. Absolutely.
They should maybe they should do something where it's like they pick like a good goal and you have to replicate it or something. I don't know.
I do like the speed competition. I think that can be sometimes fun.
I like that a lot too. I really do.
Yeah, and it's good, and they can showcase the previous runners and show like, or not runners, but like skaters, and show how fast they were. It has a ghost on the ice, and I think that's kind of cool. Stats has really played well into that one, but I just feel like there's something needed. But I think the problem with the All-Star game is the fact that it lends itself to a fun event live versus a fun event on TV.
Yeah,
the NHL hasn't been inventive with cameras or angles or any of that crap, and it's the stuff that would make it great. Or at least help it. But I think as a fan, I'd love to go watch it. As a fan, I couldn't watch it on TV. I could give less of a crap. A weekend would be great with like loving hockey, but
see all like the best play. Well, most of the best players live, and that'd be fantastic. And I'm sure they make a big hoopla of it, and there's probably a lot of stuff to do, and it'd be fun live. But yeah, you're right. Like in person, it's nothing. And then the game itself is it's so pointless.
It used to be so bad. Oh man, it's better now, and it's still not good.
Yeah, I wonder if they introduced something that made the players actually care. Like if it was back in the conferences, the winning conference would be able to have home ice advantage in the Stanley Cup final or something like that.
Just
right?
like baseball, right?
Right, exactly. So if you had something like that, then at least there'd be some sort of incentive and reason to check out the game and care about who won the game.
Yeah. And I know that one of the things they talk to, like they have money for charity and stuff, but I don't know if people are going out there being like, we need to do this for this charity. Like, I just don't see it with NHL players. I just don't. So I think you're right. Like there has to be some actual incentive. The problem is hockey's so rigid in its tradition that it can't get out of its own way. Right.
Yeah. You won't see any like major changes until Bettman's gone, and hopefully they bring someone youthful.
If Batman's gone, it'll be somebody else.
It'll be like, his right hand man that's been there
exactly.
forever. Yeah,
you understand how things run. You do it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, Bettman's done good for the owners.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's who his boss is. Just is.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I can't say he's done all bad. I can't say that, but I mean, he's definitely made some decisions I haven't been a fan of, and there's definitely, it seems like they're in the dark ages a little bit in some
compared to other
NHL.
sports.
Yeah. Like they always seem to be like the last ones to do something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hockey can't figure out how to grow itself. Like it just can't. And it's like, you have to make it accessible to people, and it's not. You have to make it affordable, and it's not. And you have to do like things to reach out to communities, and you don't.
And you have to highlight your players, and
they don't
actually let them show character, and they don't do that at all.
See, it's funny because I think that's an NHL issue, but I think that's actually more of a hockey issue. You are taught that you are a part of a system, even if you're really good. You don't speak out, you don't blah blah blah. And at the end of the day, they walk out with that mentality, that training, and they don't have any. Yeah, anything.
But like you look at NFL, like NFL, I would say is even more team oriented than hockey is. And you still have individuals in the NFL.
True. The personalities sometimes blow up in their face.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But that's entertaining. You love,
but that's entertainment.
Exactly. Yeah. It's entertaining. Like I want the Sean Averys and assholes like that because they make it fun.
Yeah. Well, that was the point that was made, which was you kind of punish these guys who are doing these things, but that's really who you pay attention to in some ways.
Absolutely.
Like when Avery said his stupid things and they were all stupid, or did stupid antics and they were all dumb, you got attention on the sport. You didn't get that for other things. You don't even like they said, like McDavid last year, he had like that season where he got his season mark, and it wasn't even a conversation point because of something else that had occurred. And it's like, they can't focus. But every time I feel like I talk with the NHL, it's always like on the bad side of something happened, right? Like there's a cause occurring and they're not supporting it, or there's an issue occurring here and no one said anything. And they're just behind the times.
Way
and
behind.
Like I said, like honestly, but hockey's always been the third or fourth sport. Like really, it has. Because even back in the day, hockey players were making nothing compared to baseball players, compared to football players. So nothing's really changed there.
Even in the States, they're not number 4. Like they're behind college football, college basketball. Like you go to like ESPN site and you have to click on the more tab to find NHL.
Yeah, is that still true though?
Maybe not. I haven't actually looked at the website since they've been brought on to TNT and ESPN. So I'm not sure, but
Adam, the chair's fine. Just leave it. We're just trying to have a conversation.
I'm not trying to. It's like I need to like some.
I really wonder if we should explain why Adam looks like a Smurf.
No.
Oh, okay.
I think we just click, subscribe, and comment on why Adam looks like a Smurf. I think that's a better way to go.
I should like Photoshop this after and have his like white hair, a little Smurf outfit on him.
Let's put a Smurf head on him in the middle of like this picture or something, and then just be like, it explains so much. Yeah, that's kind of crazy, but I don't know. Like, I don't know how you change any of this stuff. This seems like a low tone energy episode. Actually, I'm kind of sad about that. I don't know. It's the way it is at this moment.
Something
Well, it's all
positive.
good. No,
Yeah. Do we want to run our simulation? Should we start with that? I'll let you guys take it from there.
why not?
All right, let's do it. So last week we picked our Team Canada roster, and for the rest of the nations, we decided to use the Athletics prediction for their rosters. We took their latest predictions
as best as we could.
Right? Because they didn't have
KHL
like
does
some
not
KHL
exist.
players. And,
KHL does not exist in NHL 22.
So Adam's gone ahead and done that because he's or I don't know, Baron, if you have NHL 22, but Adam has NHL 22. I do not. Okay, Baron does not. So that's why Adam's all blue Huey here, because his TV's on. He's ready to play this game here. So we're going to have a sim, and we're going to see how Team Canada does and if they would have won gold. So let's do it in 1 second. 1 second.
Now, in this Sims, Adam, we're not going to have to sit there and watch games at all, are we?
Nope.
Right.
You chose Big Rock, huh?
Oh, this is my Olympics, because I could care less about the real one. So this is it.
All right. So here we go. We got Team versus the Swiss.
Is this like an actual elimination round, or?
Yes, it is. It
Okay.
is. That's all I could do.
So Swiss is in the elimination round. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we're right in there.
Interesting. Figured we'll sim most of the games and then just watch the final game, like final period of the last game or something.
That's like a bit of time. Okay, nothing's happening.
Come on,
It's-
Canada.
So it's like you might want to speed up the actual simulation here, Adam.
Yeah, is there just like a
Well, you
sim
can
game
sit
option?
there.
Oh,
there is a
1-0 Canada. We got a
Marner,
Marner
baby.
goal.
There's a fast forward button. It's the X button, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm hitting.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Oh God.
This might
What the hell?
No, I don't believe this, even if they lose. I'm like,
Oh,
whatever.
there we
we
go.
go.
Who else? Huberto and
Huberdeau
Marchand.
and Marchand.
All right.
3-2.
Whew.
Oh,
That's all right. They're
That's
just
a little-
learning to get. They're just gelling.
I
They're
don't
building
know.
team chemistry.
here's
Iffy.
our stats. We got Bergeron with 2 assists, Pietrangelo with an assist, Marchand with a goal, Hamilton with an assist, Huberdeau with a goal. We got a Theodore assist, McDavid assist, and a Marner goal.
Ooh, Marner, baby.
Okay, 3 stars. The Swiss team should be 1 if they're given that much of a. We got Bergeron, Fleury, and Huberdeau. Okay.
All
Wow,
right.
that one made the
All
heart
right.
pump.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap. All right, second round. We've got the Finnish team against Team Sweden.
Can we just simulate and not watch that one?
Oh, did Canada win?
Yeah, we're simulating. Don't worry.
I think you can just hit simulate where you don't have to like do
Do the period by period.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
because nobody cares about this game.
Well, come on, Nylander.
Good, Sweden's
Like the
crushing.
Swedes are really taking
Erik
it.
Karlsson.
It's 3-0 final. We won't worry
Poor
about
Finland.
the stats there. We got Germany versus the U.S. And
Assuming
you
that's
want
gonna
to
be-
just sim it?
Yeah,
Or-
yeah. Just do the quick sim, whatever it is.
Okay, so that was a 3-2 win by Team USA. Another tight one. Russia versus Czech.
That's gonna be the Russians.
We'll sim to next game. And that was a 4-2 win by Russia.
Oh yeah.
Now,
Canada,
Oh, Marner versus Nylander. Here we go.
okay, so
No,
we're going to
no.
simulate like we
Or
did
Marner,
last.
Tavares, and Riley versus Nylander.
Right, here we go.
Riley's on the bench, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's still part of the team.
We got two
Ha!
nothing Sweden.
Oh no.
We got 2 Forsberg goals.
Oh no.
Hey, he is on fire.
Oh no. Oh no. Eric Carlson. Oh no.
Oh, this was fun. Ha!
Well,
3-1.
Wow.
Wow.
well, there we go.
So is Canada just eliminated now?
Canada's
or-
eliminated.
Or are they in like the
Right.
going to the bronze medal instead?
No
No, I
bronze
think they're
medal in
out.
this.
They're out.
They're out.
Wow.
They would be playing against. Let's see. Wow, this simulation.
Well, I guess I'm cheering for USA.
You would. I'm cheering for Sweden. But I will state that I've been a fan long enough to notice that EA Sports has picked the Oilers to win the cup a couple of times, and that ain't happening. So I don't hold a lot of stock in this.
Who won that? I missed it.
That was USA, Sweden. Here we go.
Is this gold medal?
This is gold medal.
All right, let's watch the third period.
Oh, it's long, man. Like you're gonna sit here for 5 minutes watching it.
5 minutes. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have my beer. I'm enjoying this. This is my Olympic hockey right here. I want to see Matthews.
Do
win
you
the gold
cry
medal.
when you turn the camera off? You
How do
cry,
I?
don't you?
How do I?
I've already cried. I've cried numerous times.
I don't know.
I'm not sure
Adam.
how to.
Get back in the game.
Yeah.
Hit triangle.
Oh, options. There we go. Oh, okay. I see. We can just do that. Okay.
You act like
I see.
this isn't your game.
Piss poor preparation is what they
Yeah,
say.
I was expecting you to practice this, man.
Triangle is CPU versus CPU game. Hit triangle. There you go. But is this the first period?
Yeah,
or is this
just the
full
third
game?
period, Adam. Can
Yeah,
we do
this
that?
is the first period, so I can.
Can we sim till the third period and then watch?
Yeah,
Just edit. You're gonna have to do so much editing tonight, you poor bastard. Adam learning how to use his video games.
Oh my god.
At least the levity feels like it's rising.
which
in
is
this
the
episode.
X? Which is the X button? Which is the X button? Jack, which is the X
I
button?
still can't believe Team Canada lost. My
I
gosh.
don't believe it. But meeting Sweden is tough,
Yeah.
especially early on.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Sweden's. a
I
decent
just
team.
don't buy that first score against Switzerland because I don't think that is a decent team.
Yeah, maybe our goaltending was really shitty, which could have
I don't know.
happened. It could have happened that we would have ended up having really crappy goaltending.
Should have put Biddington in.
Maybe. Yeah, I blame Adam for not coaching. Is this,
Honestly, Biddington would probably be the starter over Fleury, though. Legitimately.
sorry, what's? Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I do. Especially how the years are going. This year's going.
I guess like, well, would they have? Oh, they wouldn't have had a camp. They would have just gone in and played games, right? Or they would have had some
Yeah.
exhibition games. I can't remember how.
Usually get an exhibition game or two, but that's pre-COVID time, so I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I guess it depends how they would have looked. Why are we watching the first period, Adam?
Well, I'm trying to figure out how to simulate the first period.
Did you just
Sorry.
hit simulate period?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of the same thing we were doing before, where you could see the scores after each period, but then before you would sim the third period, you'd say, I want to play.
The only way I can do this is if I quit and I sim. It sims the rest of the game.
Do that then, I guess.
Yeah, I guess we're not going to watch any hockey. The hell, Adam. You know what? This means we have to restart this whole thing.
The sim part where it's just period by period and then jump in. At least you can.
That's
on,
what. Yeah, that's
Be a
what I
Pro.
thought we were
that's-
going to do.
You
I
can on
jumped-
Be a Pro.
Jumped it too quick. Sorry.
All right, who won it?
All right. USA
USA.
2-1.
Yeah.
Let's see some
Game's-
stats. Let's see who.
Game's rigged, unfortunately.
Auston
come on,
Matthews,
it's
baby.
so rigged.
All right. So we
Although
have-
if the US won, I don't know if that's a huge surprise. I think the surprise is more that Canada was eliminated.
I'm not going to lie. That whole thing did not go out. Did not happen in the way that in my mind it was going to happen.
Like, you mean how Team Canada won, or how
the simulation?
Adam ran
I was
the
expecting to sit
simulation?
here, have a beer, cheer on Team Canada.
I
win the
know.
goal, be pumped, and it just didn't. It's one disappointment after another with this Winter Olympics.
we have Jack Eichel had 2 goals and an assist.
You
He
might
led,
get. Sorry.
led Team USA Torrey Krug, 3 assists. Matthews had a goal and an assist. Not a great outing for him, letting himself and his team down a little there. Patrick Kane with two assists. Larkin, 2 assists. Kyle Connor, 2 assists. Goal from Blake Wheeler. A goal from a Kachuk. That's Matthew. And Renski's got a goal. Brady's got a goal. Adam Fox. Charlie McAvoy assists, and then the rest are.
So who let us down on Canada? Who was like our biggest like minus and plus minus?
I'm gonna bet Marner.
No,
Okay, we got Bergeron, 2 assists.
looks like he's ahead.
Crosby, Marchand, Huberdeau, Marner, Pietrangelo. Those are all our goals. Pietrangelo, Hamilton, Theodore, Ekblad, McDavid. All our assists. We got Stamkos.
It's a minus
Tavares,
1.
Riley.
Stone was a minus 1.
Nurse wasn't a minus.
McKinnon was a minus 1. Point. That Point McKinnon Stamkos line did not do too well.
Either did Makar.
Oh, Makar, what the hell, man?
Steven Stamkos.
It's the Colorado guys. What the hell? Colorado and Tampa.
I think it's just ran into like a repeat here. What is going on?
Did you have 2
something
Cale
like that.
Makars on our team?
No, there were 3. But I think that's just a glitch. That's a glitch in here.
You stack that team with 3 Cale Makars, we should have won. No offense. This whole thing's unbelievable, and it's hard to believe. And I'm sad that this has to be a video. So good luck editing this, Ryan, to make it something.
If we didn't already hype this thing, I would have just nixed the whole segment.
Holy piss! Yeah. It's like watching a ship hit someone try to turn a car around and then just like get stuck.
Yeah.
And then get loose, only to get stuck again, only to get loose and crash.
There's always lessons to be learned from every failure, and this one is preparation. Preparation needed to occur, and we needed to actually ensure we could stream our video game before promising we were going to do this.
Also, Adam has bad ideas. We shouldn't listen to
it. It was my idea. It was. I'll take the hit on that one.
Adam has bad execution. You have bad ideas. There we go. At least Sanjay doesn't show up. He probably knew. Sanjay was probably like, it's going to be some shit ass video game where they're trying to sim the period and nothing goes right. He's like, I'm sitting out. I'm done. Like, oh my God.
Well, thanks for that there, Adam.
Well, that was something.
You know what the
fun.
sad thing is? Adam probably spent a lot of time like putting those rosters together.
He put the roster in. And for what, Adam? For what? No.
I'd do it again.
Well, you know what? Then at least, if this is true and Team Canada would have lost out early, then maybe, I'm feeling a little better that NHL's not going now. So there's that.
But see, the thing is I don't think they would have. And I mean, whatever. There's no way we don't.
EA always gets it right, Baron. They always get it right.
It's true. Who did they pick to win this year?
I have no idea. I didn't hear it this year.
Maybe they only do it once playoffs start.
I think you might be right. Well, no, I thought they do it at the beginning of the season as well, but I don't remember.
Well, if it's the Ducks or the Sharks, you're going to have to be like,
Maybe they know something.
Timo Meier going off today. First time a player scored 5 goals in a game. And he did it like he had a hat trick within like the first 20 minutes of play. Like he was nuts. I didn't watch that game. I have zero interest in that game, but good for him, man.
Was Gabrick the last guy to get 5 goals in a game? I remember him getting 5 goals.
I don't know. They said it hadn't been done what he did today in a long time.
Gabrick
was mentioned since
with the Wild.
Well, did he only get 5?
Years ago? Yeah, it was 5. I just remember because I had him in my hockey pool, so I was super pumped.
Oh, you have him in the pool with us?
No. I had him back then when he got 5 goals.
Oh, him. You don't have Meier, though, hey?
No. I don't think anyone took Timo Meier.
Yeah, exactly. And now they'd be at what, like 10 points? Basil's creeping up. Give him credit. Didn't see that coming.
No, he was last place for the longest time.
Yes. And now he's just whipping it up. His goaltending
all came back, I guess. I don't know.
I was trying to look what's wrong with my stream. I was trying to simulate a game.
I was trying to see what the EA. I don't think they've ran the simulation because the only one I can find is for 2021 where Boston beats Vegas in the final.
Speaking of Boston firing off what was like 8 and 9 wins, holy piss, are they hot right now? Like there is a team
I hate
firing
Boston.
on all cylinders, and you should, because they're looking dangerous.
Yeah.
Actually, my team sucks. That's fine, but they're in the West, so lots can happen.
Yeah.
But the East,
The
East is
Atlantic, man. The Atlantic
murderers,
alone,
yes.
you're going to have 4 teams in the 100 points.
Murderers row, like
Yeah.
honest to God, just murderers row. Like
Brutal.
Panthers are another beast.
Panthers got how many goals this weekend? It was
Oh,
nuts.
9? Wasn't it 9 in like 2 games or something like that?
I thought it was more than that. I think
Might
they got
be.
7 that one game. I
Yeah,
thought they
they
got
have-
like in the teens for sure.
Well, maybe it is that. I don't know. I just saw that they had a ton, like
Yeah.
an absolute ton. Now, was it Sanjay who shared the post from the win column, or was that me? Might have been me.
From the win column.
Yeah, from the win column at win column CGY, when the Oilers are 2-6-2 in their last 10 and absolutely imploding, but the Flames are
I shared that.
2-7-1.
Yes,
Is that you?
was
Yeah.
Elon, yeah.
Over the same stretch, so you can't make too many jokes. Fantastic. Let me tell you. Yeah, no, but it is weird how like
They're just so
that's
parallel.
well, they're parallel, but there's not a lot of traction on the Calgary story, and I think it's because nobody had any expectations for them.
No, well, they didn't make
But
the playoffs last year.
Right.
It was a
but I
really
think
feel good story for most of the season.
the story's the issue is the same, which is like neither's really getting goaltending, neither's team is playing well in front of those goalies.
What happened to
And-
Markstrom? He was in conversations for Vezina at the beginning of the season.
But it's not in him anymore.
No,
Yeah, him and Vladar had higher. I think they had a higher like shutout or was it like shutout and save percentage than twice the record at the start. Like that's what they were projecting for. So you knew it was going to drop off.
yeah,
But like other things, like you think things are going to cool, not crater. And I think that's been a big part of it. I think they've kind of cratered. I think both of those guys were sick too with COVID at separate times as well. And I think the COVID thing does jostle you because it's like you prep all summer, you're ready, you're playing, you're going hard, you start to wear out, and then all of a sudden you're shut down. And then you're trying to start back up again. And you're stepping onto like a freeway limping, right? Like it's not easy. So I
because
think
you're
that's
facing these
part of
teams
it.
who are just well-oiled machines by this point, and now it feels like you're just kind of starting all over again with that stoppage, right?
That's exactly it. I think the thing that's really annoying is hockey stories aren't ever actually stories. They're just loose narratives to explain what's happening, right? Like it's not like here's the story of why, how Johnny became rich. It would be here's the story or Johnny became rich because he did this. And then when Johnny loses money, be like, well, Johnny lost his money because he does that. And it's the same thing back and forth. So when they're winning, a Daryl Sutter team is a hard coach team. Everybody buys in and blah, blah, blah. Well, if that's the case, then that's true still today, but they're not winning. So you know what I mean? But it's always the same narratives that pop up in hockey. If a coach is good, he's good for the same 6 flipping reasons he was last time he was good. If he's bad, it's for the same reasons he was bad last time. But I think the answer is always the same. Are you getting saves? No. Well, then you're shit.
Yeah.
Like you just are. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
But no one
weird.
wants to say that, right? No one wants to just blame a goaltender.
No, you can't.
Even in the playoffs, like you run to a hot goalie or something, and no one wants to actually just say, yeah, their goalie was hot or the goalie was shit. If they lost because of their goaltending. No one ever wants to blame the goaltender
But that's
other
weird, though, to
than
me.
Tippett.
Yeah. But no, and I think his comment was warranted. I don't think Mikko Koskinen's been very good, but
No,
I
he hasn't.
don't think the guys in front of Mikko Koskinen have been very good either. And
Which,
know, like-
which warrants Koskinen's comments.
Yep. And even then, if you look at Koskinen's comments were taken out of screw, like they were.
When they were
section of what he
translated
was
proper.
saying.
Yeah, when they were translated properly, much more gentle, much more
Yeah.
forgiving of Tippett, much more,
He's like, that's the way it is, and blah blah blah, right? Like I think he's a veteran, he gets it. It is funny though. I was listening to Rashog today, and he was making that point. He's like, from the top down, guys are playing like they expect to win, but not doing the things they need to do to win. But he also made a comment. He's like, you can be mad at the coach because the coach isn't doing things essentially well either. Like if you're working hard and doing things that nobody else is doing, like you're digging in deep, you're doing these other things, you're not rewarded on the Oilers. You're not given more playing time. You're not getting more shifts. You're not getting even in the lineup. And Strudwick had the comment, he's like, you can't change a roster anymore. You've picked this roster, you're living with it. The only thing you can change is a coach. But if you do that, what system are they going to come in and implement now? You're still going to run the same systems. So it's whether or not someone can make you do it better. And he's like, that's so the push has to still come from within. So it was interesting takes on it. But yeah, I think it's a messy time to be a hockey fan in Alberta. Both places struggling. Neither place has answers. And you can sit there and say one team's better than the other, one team's worse than the other, but neither are good. And I think that's the real reason why Sanjay won't show his face around here. He's like, I probably haven't watched Flames hockey in months. Like
this would have been the episode to wear the Flames jersey too. Oh,
it's true.
Sanjay wasn't here. I don't have one. I got to borrow one.
It's just crazy. You think
forgetting
early on, like our first episodes, put those side by side to now, like the stark contrast where everyone was just so happy with how their teams. Well, I mean, I was pissed at the beginning of the season. Yeah, at the beginning of the season. But a little bit after that, you put those ones, like all three of us were just praising our team, saying like, oh, we've been through so much. We should all enjoy this fantastic play by our teams.
And we should have enjoyed it.
And yeah, hopefully
I did at the time.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Like, honestly, like this feels like the 18-wheeler, like Leaf team. Yeah. Like, I can't believe how, like, I just kept expecting the Oilers to eventually bounce back, and it just hasn't happened.
But I think everyone did.
Yeah.
And the weird part with the Oilers fans too, like I said this, which was there's people calling for Tippett to be fired when the team had like an amazing record, but they were like 16-4. People were like, fire Tippett. I'm like, yeah, that's the dumbest comment ever. And now we're at a point where he's lost 12 in a row behind the bench, and you're like, well, hard to argue against you anymore. I think you were early in your comment, but your comment's starting to gain some water here. I don't think that's going to happen. But man, like people are just emotionally dead right now with hockey in that market, and I feel it. Like I like paying attention to the Oilers. I'm usually happy. Even last year when we were losing those games to the Leafs, we were still like the second team in the Canadian division. Yeah. You still had like a strong feeling. I was excited that we were going against Winnipeg because I thought that was a team we could beat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But like there was still that joy. And I'm like, no, I got nothing. Like I really don't. Like, and everyone's comments saying like, well, McDavid should ask for a trade. But even then, those people have turned on McDavid for his Evander Kane comments. So it's like, well, if he leaves, he leaves. I don't blame him. What are you gonna do?
The nice thing is these guys have still got him signed for a long time here.
That
so
doesn't mean he was going to want to stay.
I guess he could demand, but I mean, they don't have to trade him if they don't want to.
There's no guarantee wherever he goes.
I just don't see it
either. That's why I hate the narrative. I don't see it happening either. That's why
I don't see him demanding a trade.
You look at marquee players in markets, no matter where they are, they stake it out. They play with their teams. They like look at Ovechkin, look at Crosby, look at Stamkos. Like those are all leaders from these
Tavares,
Taves. Right. Yeah. Tavares is another story.
But that was a free agent, right? He didn't demand a trade out of a market. Like when was the last time a superstar demanded a trade out?
John Tavares took a pay cut to stay there. Like when he got his first contract, he was making $5 million. Other guys were making $8 million. Like he took nothing. He gave them so many opportunities to build.
McKinnon.
They didn't.
Well, and like McDavid's not going to want to leave because he has this nice heated driveway. Like he has to like get that all reinstalled in his new place. Like he doesn't have to. That's
who the hell's
going to
buy that
to
house?
Get all that done. John Tavares, there was a story coming out today how he spent like an hour shoveling snow. Like you don't have to do that.
No,
you got a nice heated driveway.
He's richer than Tavares. Come on now. But I mean, honestly, like it's just like the same story. That's what I mean. The same stories pop up in hockey, but it's hard to have faith in this organization anymore. Like I used to laugh at, like, I mean, the Oilers were basically the Cleveland Browns of the NHL. Like they just could never string things together for forever. And then whenever they seem like they're on a good path, they just fumble the ball. So I don't know, but there's so many issues there. That could be a whole flipping episode on its own. That's why we need to talk about the Flames and how they have issues, because Sanjay isn't here and it's just an easier conversation.
The thing with Holland though, like when he first came in and was making some moves, I was pretty impressed with some of his moves. Like he got rid of Lucic and he was doing like these little tiny moves around the fringes because he didn't have a lot of cap space. And I was pretty impressed by it. And then he finally, like, what was it? $26 million or whatever it was this offseason he had. And I'm like, I'm really curious to see what he's going to do with this, because now he can put his fingerprints all over his team. And like, I'm not going to say every move he made was bad, but he made some real stinkers.
And here's like, so once again, Like I have this debate with another group of friends, and they're like, "Well, those contracts are terrible." Like I don't think the Hyman contract's terrible. By the end of Hyman's career, will he be a $5 million player? No. Do I think Nuge at $5 million is okay? Yeah, I think those are both value contracts. Do I think Duncan Keith at $5 million, where you've put in your second round pick, I like Caleb Jones? Who cares? I'm sorry. If you're an Oilers fan and you thought Caleb Jones was going to do anything for this organization, he wasn't. Like he was
movable. He was the guy whose name was out there all the time. You're like, yeah, it's Caleb Jones is our guy. We can move.
But the fact that you didn't make them retain anything,
the
fact that
nuts.
you didn't get the second round pick or a third round pick or anything, that was absolutely stupid. You had them by the balls and you totally dropped it. And like it's hard.
And he's not even your number 3 guy. He's your number 4. Like he should be making like $2 million.
Yes, and that's the thing. Even if here's the other thing, if Duncan Keith was making $3 million, you'd probably be fine with it.
Yeah,
you'd be like,
absolutely.
yeah, okay, whatever. Veteran leadership, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And he's been better than he was last year. Like even his number support that he has been.
Yeah, like his numbers aren't bad,
but he's not great.
But he's overpaid. Like he's your number 4. He needed to be your number 3.
And he's overpaid for one more year. And that's the problem. And then I look at someone like Cody Ceci, and I know people can shit on him all you want. He's been their best defensive signing. Agreed. He's been better than Barry. He's been better than Keith. He's been better than Cuckoo or the other
Cuckoo.
guys.
Yeah.
Cuckoo is really
like your third pairing is just abysmal.
That's part of the problem.
You know what? I'm at the point where I'm like, you need to take Cuckoo out and get Chris Russell in.
Honestly, I would take Chris Russell over Cuckoo right now.
Well, he is, isn't he? Isn't Russell Bouchard?
I don't think.
I think Russell might been out and injured and everything else.
And I think Russell would be a really good guy to have in this as a 6'7", as a 5'6", because he's a grinder and a fighter.
Yeah.
The problem
they didn't need to re-sign Barry. Like that was a re-signing as well that just wasn't needed.
The argument for that was you don't want to lose all your veteran defensemen at once.
Right.
And I understand that, but I also I was fine with Barry. I thought they overpaid for Barry.
Yeah.
But he just hasn't been good this year. Like he just
also have to want. Yeah.
And he was on like he had a record year. He was in a division that wasn't the same as the normal divisions.
Yeah.
So there was lots of opportunity. The power play was clicking at like a historic high.
And like Holland
got too much credit for that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think Holland thought he'd be able to bring back Larson as well, right? So I mean that was a big thing that it just didn't, he wasn't planning for that. And I also wonder how hard it was to get some of those free agents to come to Edmonton. I mean, that's always, it's hard to entice sometimes players to come to a smaller Canadian market, cold weather.
I don't agree.
I think that's less so too now because the option's always there. Like Adam's saying, go ahead, Adam, say it.
Yeah, I just I get your argument with like smaller market, yada yada yada. But then you look at who you're playing with and who's on that team and what the future holds for them, right? McDavid, Draisaitl, Nurse. You got maybe the best core that team's going to see.
I think your argument, I think your argument holds water when you're going to play with like Sean Horkoff. Okay, why the hell would I want to live there? I can live in like California, but I don't know. When they have the best players, it's kind of hard. I don't think that argument exists anymore. The problem becomes though.
But then why couldn't
I think the problem becomes though is that there's a feeling that American players do not want to play in Canada unless they have to, and so those never become primary targets. So you never go after Brendan Saad. You never go after some of these other guys because you're like, well, we know that they probably don't want to play here because they don't want to be in Canada. And so you eliminate people, whether it's right or wrong, or it might cost you more. So you eliminate people and you don't go for them. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. But just the fact they couldn't bring in, like I have to assume Holland checked into the goalie market.
Well, that's the thing. He has for years. He has for years. The whole talk was that we were in for Kemper, but we were offered up pieces, but the pieces that Colorado offered were more enticing, right? So it's not that he's never looked into it. He's just never.
But there were a lot of free agent goalie signings,
right? But then you still have to. Then you'd have. But he
didn't have to re-sign Koskinen.
He didn't re-sign Koskinen,
didn't he? Or who did he re-sign? Smith.
Mike
he
Smith.
Re-signed. Oh, okay. Well, you didn't have to re-sign Smith.
No, he didn't. But then, which of those major league guys were you grabbing at $1.2 million?
Yeah.
No, but I mean, he had $26 million that you could have spent towards a goalie.
But then you're taking it from somewhere else. That's what I mean. Once he made the decision on Duncan Keith, once he made the decision on the other things, the things lied where they lied. And they
It
gambled
ate
on
up
age.
that space pretty quick.
Right.
And now the issue is you don't have a lot of cap space in the offseason now.
Not at all. Not this year, but the year after they'll have more.
Yeah.
But they're gonna lose a bunch here because they still got to sign Puljujarvi.
Yeah.
They still have to sign Nurse is going to get paid, so that's the other issue.
Oh, is his contract coming up? Yeah, that's a big one.
He's already signed, so he's getting $9 million.
Oh, but I see his increase is coming up. So what you're saying? Yeah.
So this is the last year on his old contract.
Right.
Clefbaum comes off the book, so it's $4 million you get. But I still think it's just the same issue which occurs, which is.
But Clefbaum's an LTIR, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
you still have to have him on your roster and then do all those other things.
Right.
Right. There's a reason why the Leafs got out of the LTIR game when they did, right? They didn't just keep signing guys that were injured. Once you can get rid of those contracts, it's better not to have them than it is to have them.
It helps in the off season. Yeah. Once you get in the
100%.
season, it doesn't matter. But yeah, off season. Yeah.
Well, it does because you need them on your opening roster.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then you need to have X amount, and $4 million is a big hunk of space.
Yeah, big time.
So I don't know. I think the issue was like they tried. They didn't think of it as thing. And like I said, I was going to say this. There's two things I think that they did which were problematic, which I think are the stem of a lot of this, which is they gambled on veterans. And I don't have an issue with this. You need veterans in your lineup, et cetera, et cetera. And they just took too old of guys. And I mean that for Keith. I mean that for Russell. I mean that for Smith. And they thought that they would play like they did last year, but age just kind of caught up to some degree here with injuries and everything else. Like they said, Chris Russell's been injured a bit last couple of years. So there's that. And then I think they thought youth would be able to step into the lineup, which was the mistake the old regime always made, waiting for young guys to step in when they weren't ready. And Holloway's been out. So there would have been a $600,000 winger for you to play on your second line, and you could move Nuge around, et cetera. And you don't have them. And now they're scrambling still to fill that hole. And it's just like, that's the game. But at the end of the day, as someone else pointed out, I think this was Dustin Nielsen pointed out on Edmonton radio, you want to blame the GM, you can blame the GM. You want to play the coach, blame the coach in the deployment, you can blame the coach in the deployment. You want to play the players for how they've played, you can blame that. You want to blame goaltending or defense, you can blame that. Lots of blame to go around, lots of things to fix, no answers. So it is what it is. But I haven't paid attention to Calgary, so I don't know what their issue is. Do you guys don't know anymore? I'm trying to think that's what I mean.
They're knee deep. They're knee deep in my barn and they can't get it out.
Hey, a Daryl Sutter team has great goaltending numbers. They play, et cetera, except when they don't, which is true for all teams. So something's wrong. And that entire province is in trouble when it comes to hockey.
Exactly. Yeah, it wasn't too long. I looked at their numbers because when Sanjay and I had that debate as to the best Canadian team, we both picked Calgary. At that time, like everything, offense, defense, special teams, goaltending, everything was in the top 10. It might have changed in this past week, but it wasn't that long ago. I took a look and they were still in the top 10 for everything. So I don't know if it's maybe just some unfortunate puck luck or what's going on with them.
But I think that's the thing. Puck luck, you can find most teams sucking or having terrible puck luck to some degree. Mm-hmm. But I think the problem with the Alberta teams, it's like you have the puck luck issue, and then you have this other issue, and then this third issue maybe, and all three of them at the same time are just screwing you down, right? You're unlucky. Yeah. But you're also not shooting enough. Yeah. But you're also not getting saves.
But like with Edmonton, I kind of saw a bit of a fall coming just because their offense was clicking at such a rate that it was hard. I thought it'd be hard to maintain. Like I remember Adam predicting like, oh, he's going to get, McDavid's going to get 250 points. I was like, that's not going to happen. At some point he's going to slow down. Same with Draisaitl. They were just an insane scoring pace at the start of the year. But when you looked at their underlying metrics at 5-on-5, they're not a very strong team. They've never been a very strong team at 5-on-5. So I could see that. But with Calgary, their metrics all across the board are still pretty good. So, but I mean, maybe, I don't know if it's puck luck.
Are they still good? What's the last time you looked at them?
It's been like probably a week or two. So,
that's not that long a time. But I think too, with the, when it comes to Edmonton here, like come December, they always slump. Like you can go back every year, they slumped the last 2 or 3 years in December. So the December slump was seen. What was not seen was the continuing slump into January, or the slump being as bad as it was. Like when I think slump, I think you're going to lose like 6 and win 4, not lose 7, So it is what it is.
So they have slumped a bit. So their expected goals against per 60, they were top 10. They're just outside top 10 now at 11th. Expected goals for, they've really dropped.
Yeah, there you go.
Where are they now? Holy moly. Holy crap. Oh, wait, I had it backwards.
Oh.
They're still top 10. I had it the least.
That should be the intro to the episode. Where are these? Holy moly. Oh, yeah, I screwed it up. It says.
It looks like maybe their defense has slipped a bit, at least just off first glance at 5-on-5 numbers. But yeah, I don't know.
So let's end on this. We're already an hour over, but I know a lot of this is going to get edited anyways because it has to. But let's do two things. First one, we're going to answer a question. We didn't talk about it though, but Pilon asked, is Auston Matthews going to be the greatest Leaf of all time? Yes or no? So Adam, I'm going to go to you for a yes or no answer and you tell me why, and then I'll go to Ryan and then I'll go to myself. So Adam, do you think by the end of his career, Auston Matthews will be the greatest Leaf, yes or no, and why?
No, and it's simply because, once he's going back to Arizona and he's going to be the best Coyote of all time.
I will say yes. I think he has a good chance at it. So he has a number of, he's probably the most skilled Leaf the franchise has ever seen. Right this week, he's going to be trying to get the league record for most consecutive road games with the goal to tie Yzerman and Bure. He has a number of other.
Who do they play?
Who do they play on Wednesday? Is it New Jersey? No, Rangers. They play the Rangers. So it'll be a tough one. Rangers are good. He has a number of other Leaf and league records, and he has a Calder and Rocket trophy, and he has a legit shot this year at passing the Leafs all-time goals in one season. He probably would have got that already had it not been for the COVID shortened seasons, but he has a legit shot at getting that record too. So you look at all these records, all these individual accomplishments, he's already 11th of all time in Leaf scoring. He's going to be in the top 10 most likely by the end of the season if he keeps scoring at this pace. He's only a goal behind that Rocket Richard trophy race. He might win another one. There's two things basically that need to happen for him to actually get there, though. Number one is he needs to resign in Toronto. I know lots of people are speculating, like Adam, he's going to go to Arizona. Will there be a team in Arizona by the time that happens? We'll see.
Who knows if he'll go?
We'll see.
That team will stay as long as Bettman's alive and in charge.
Yeah, who knows?
You know what?
It'll
move to Quebec, and then he's going to be hated in Toronto.
Yeah, he went to Quebec. Yeah, exactly. So, who knows? Like, he is American. We just talked about American players, and he came from a desert where it's hot all the time, and maybe he hates the Canadian cold. You just never know, and there's a lot of pressure in Toronto. So, it's not out of the realm of possibility he leaves. If he wants to be the best Leaf of all time, he needs to resign. He needs a long career in Leafland. And number two, he needs some postseason success. Obviously, he needs some, not necessarily he has to win the cup, but he needs some deep playoff runs. Like a couple of Leaf names that always come up with best ever is Sundin and Gilmore. And they never won the cup with the Leafs, but they had some deep playoff runs. And that's what he needs as well. So obviously he's not there yet, but he definitely has a shot.
I'm going to say it depends. If he gets the records, but he bails, then you're not going to think of him as the greatest Leaf. Just like no one thinks of Kawhi Leonard as the greatest Raptor, right? And that's not a knock because he's been there longer for sure. And he's doing a lot more things. I just think if you leave, that stings. If they win a cup, I think people will even be okay with him leaving, just like they were Kawhi to some degree when he took off from the Toronto Raptors. But
yeah, if he wins a cup before he leaves for the desert, then I think that would boost him up there. But
I think so too.
But the name that's always brought up is Dave Keon is the best Leaf. And he has a cup, and that's going to be tough to knock him off that number one pedestal if you don't at least have some deep playoff runs.
What happens though is there's less people around that remember Dave Keon. It's like the same reason I can't tell you anything about Tim Hortons playing style. I never saw him play. I don't know anything about him.
He does donuts.
He does donuts, and he had a burger place and a car sale place. He had lots of businesses apparently, but it is one of those things, right? Like you're just like, what do you know at the end of the day? So I think that'll be a big part of it. If he doesn't and he leaves, and I'm sure you hate the Matthews is going to Arizona story as much as the McDavid will ask for a trade story bugs me.
Or McDavid going to Leaf story.
Oh, well, see, I just don't see that happening. You can't even keep your current guys together probably after this year. So, but you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those stories that never goes away. But Matthews didn't dispel any of that either. He says, "Oh, I want to be a Leaf," but so does Johnny Gaudreau. And everyone I talk to, when we talk of Johnny Gaudreau outside of Sanjay, is like, he's gone. Like, I never hear anything being like, oh, there's a couple people are like, "Oh yeah, he wants to be here forever." There's other people are like, "Nah, when he gets a chance, he's gone." Right.
Yeah. I definitely was disappointed when Dubas signed him to his contract that he didn't get the max 8 years.
Yeah,
like
that's the one
that made me a
leverage
little
you
worried.
had.
Yeah, because that was a good thing that Edmonton did with McDavid, right? You got him the max 8 years, and you got him on for the as long as you possibly could. And it was disappointing he didn't do that with Matthews. But that's definitely been Dubas's biggest weakness is contract signing.
Yeah, it's true. Like, his analytics is finding guys. That stuff's been pretty good, but the contracts are iffy.
Yeah.
Last piece here is that the Oil Kings, this is WHL news, the Oil Kings had acquired Justin Sourdiff from the Vancouver Giants. So they essentially have, I think, four or five Team Canada guys now in their lineup. Like, they are going to be juggernauts, them and Winnipeg Ice. So I think that's interesting to see. If I was Winnipeg Ice, I would trade everything to try to get Connor Bedard out of Regina and let it roll. It won't happen, but
they'll never let him go.
No, they won't. But this organization is also like Edmonton, where they have to like get rid of a coach, and like they're doing better now, but I mean, it's taken a while. I think it's a very long episode. We're gonna call it quits here. Like, click, and subscribe. Thanks for paying attention. It's gonna be all over the place. I would even edit this thing around in all different orders for the hell of it, Ryan, if I were you, because I'm like, man, oh man, is this random stuff.
I'll just push that Team Canada stuff to the end or something.
Yeah, whatever. But it is what it is. But hey, we're trying to bring you
try something
here.
new. What can you do?
Exactly. With that, I'm Baron.
I'm Adam.
I'm Ryan.
Thanks for supporting the podcast. Keep commenting, keep watching, keep clicking. Much love. Take care.
Subscribe.
Delayed